It's no secret that storytelling is an effective communication strategy. But are there scenarios where telling a story can actually backfire? Yes, there are. And I'm going to share exactly what those are in this video. Hey there, it's Anita from Cortex, and it's so good to see you here. Our brains are hardwired to lean into stories, and this works really well for motivational speakers who want to tap into that emotion. But in a workplace setting, in an academic or business setting, where decisions are being made as a result of our communication, there are some scenarios where leaning heavily on storytelling or even starting off with a story can potentially backfire and even diminish our credibility. The first scenario is when story is all you have and there's no data or evidence to support your claims. Although we are drawn to story, we can quickly tell when someone relies on just the story and stays in this superficial, fluffy, high-level zone without ever giving us details or data to support their claims or back their case. This is what disgraced entrepreneur Elizabeth Holmes, the former CEO of Perils, used in her communication. And by the way, she's facing jail time for fraud. Elizabeth Holmes used this rosy, high-level story of potential and change without ever providing a shred of evidence or any data point to support her hypothesis. And for her, not a single investor asked her for this evidence. That's not going to happen to the rest of us. When we communicate in the workplace to decision makers or leaders or even to a highly knowledgeable audience, we need to strike the right balance between subjective communication, like storytelling, and objective communication, like presenting facts, data, numbers, a prototype, or a product demo. The key word here is balance. When we lean heavily on the subjective side and only share stories, it can make us seem less credible. At the same time, if we only share numbers and facts, we can sometimes fail to paint the bigger picture. So it's best for us to get the right balance between story and facts when we communicate. The second scenario when storytelling can backfire is when it's not your story to tell. So if you're digging really deep to find a story and you simply cannot find one from your personal experience, you can use well-documented case studies or well-known stories in your presentation. But if you're using another individual's personal story without their permission, or you use their name but you're painting them in poor light or not representing them well, it's going to make your audience feel instantly uncomfortable. It can also diminish your ethical credibility. This is what happened when Prince Harry released his bombshell memoir, where he shared his stories but also stories of other close family members without their permission and said some questionable things about them. A lot of people, including me, thought this was quite distasteful. To bring this back to the workplace, if you're unable to find a personal story, you can use stories covered in the media or well-known case studies. But if you're using another person's personal story, you want to use their permission to use their name, or you could just completely leave out their name and other identifiers, especially if you're sharing a bad experience or a cautionary tale. What we don't want to do is we don't want to slander or defame another person to make ourselves look good in our story, because that's going to immediately distance you from your audience. And hey, if you're scraping the bottom of the barrel and you still haven't found a story, you can use story techniques to communicate facts and numbers, and that is totally fine. The third scenario where storytelling can backfire is when there's another urgent issue to be addressed in the moment. Imagine a world leader addressing a national emergency. Which approach do you think is going to make him or her seem more credible? Approach number one, starting off with a long personal story with intricate details as people in the media and millions of viewers shift restlessly in their seats, waiting to be reassured by their leader. Or approach number two, directly addressing the issue at hand and mirroring the concern of the audience. In most cases, it's approach number two, addressing the elephant in the room. And once you've addressed this issue at hand and made your audience feel at ease, it's then okay to use story to make your point or drive your big message home. Now, bring this back to the workplace setting. Depending on who you're speaking to and when you're speaking, it does help to take the pulse of the room. It's possible that there are other issues on people's minds. It could be as trivial as a delayed lunch. It could be as serious as a failed product launch or layoffs. To learn more about story techniques, including exactly what story you can include in your next presentation, click on this video right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.